She told me, "You're too involved. I need to breathe." So I gave her space, completely. By week 3, she was wearing the same socks and calling her mom to do laundry. I didn't say a word. We'd been together just over 4 years, 2 of them living under the same roof in a quiet part of Oregon. I handled a lot of things in our relationship, not because she asked, but because I wanted to. I knew her schedule better than she did, made sure she ate on time, juggled both our calendars so we never missed bills, birthdays, or appointments. At the time, I thought it was just being a good partner. Supportive, reliable. Then, one night after dinner, she sat me down. She didn't seem angry, just tired. "I feel like I'm not my own person anymore," she said. "You do everything. I need to figure things out on my own, be more independent." I didn't argue. I listened. She went on. "I'm not saying you've done anything wrong. I just feel smothered, like I rely on you too much." That stung a little, if I'm being honest. I'd never viewed my help as a burden. But I nodded. "Okay," I said. "You want independence? You got it." The next morning, I printed out her weekly planner, completely blank. Usually, I'd jot in her meetings, reminders, even motivational notes on the margins. Not this time. I slid it across the table before work. "This week's all yours." I didn't pack her lunch. I didn't remind her she had a dental cleaning on Friday. No text at 2 p.m. asking if she'd eaten. No, "Don't forget to charge your laptop at night." I didn't fold her laundry or reheat her leftovers. It felt weird, pulling back like that, but I meant what I said. By Tuesday, she was a little quieter than usual. By Wednesday, she missed her first virtual meeting. It was for a freelance client she'd been trying to land for weeks. She blamed it on her phone dying overnight, but I knew she'd forgotten to plug it in. I'd stopped doing my usual before-bed check-ins. Charger, alarm, everything ready for tomorrow. Thursday night, she tried making pasta. Burned it so badly the fire alarm chirped for 5 minutes. She laughed it off, said, "Guess I need to brush up on my cooking skills." I just nodded and went back to my laptop. Friday, she looked confused during breakfast and mumbled, "Did we pay the Wi-Fi bill this month?" I shrugged. "That's your domain now, remember?" She didn't reply, just stared at her phone like it owed her an explanation. Saturday morning, the Wi-Fi was down. She spent an hour trying to reset the router before finally calling customer support, something I usually handled in 5 minutes. I overheard the call from the other room. She was trying not to lose her patience, repeating the same sentence 3 times to a rep who clearly didn't care. She hung up and sighed, sitting on the floor in the hallway for 10 minutes like she needed a reset button herself. By Sunday, she was still wearing the same pair of socks from Friday. She hadn't done laundry. It piled up in the corner like it was silently judging her. She didn't mention it. Neither did I. That night, she looked at me across the dinner table, cold cereal and a banana on her plate. "Why are you being distant lately?" I tilted my head. "I'm not being distant. I'm giving you what you asked for. Space." She blinked like it hadn't fully hit her until just then. I wasn't doing this to be cruel. I was giving her the autonomy she'd said she needed. And for the first time since we moved in together, I watched her realize what that actually looked like in practice. By the start of the second week, something had shifted. She still tried to keep up appearances, waking early, making her own breakfast, setting timers on her phone, but the edges were fraying. Monday morning, she missed her alarm and overslept by almost 2 hours. I heard her scrambling around the apartment, throwing on mismatched clothes and muttering under her breath. She didn't ask for help, and I didn't offer. I sat at the kitchen table, sipping my coffee like I didn't hear her cursing under her breath as she looked for her laptop charger. She came home late that night, drained. I asked how her day went, and she gave me a tired fine. But I knew she was lying. She'd missed a work shift. She told me later that her boss was frustrated, not because she was late, but because it was her second time in 3 days. She hadn't remembered to set her recurring alarms. Used to be, I was her alarm. Tuesday, she ordered takeout for lunch. Then again for dinner. The next day, it was Uber Eats twice. I noticed her portioning smaller meals, clearly trying to make the money stretch. I never said anything about budgeting before. I used to do all the grocery runs, made sure the fridge stayed full, and that we didn't burn through our accounts. Now she was learning what daily food delivery really cost. She tried to play it off with a joke. "I should start meal prepping like you." I just nodded. "Yeah, it helps." By Thursday, she was sitting at the table with her head in her hands. "I missed my dentist appointment," she mumbled. I looked up from my laptop. "Which one? The one we scheduled months ago?" "The cleaning." "I didn't schedule anything." "No, I meant, you usually," she trailed off, realizing it. I didn't even have to say anything. She just shook her head and went back to scrolling through emails. That evening, while I was getting ready to head to the store, she followed me to the door. "Hey, if you're going to the grocery store, could you grab me some oat milk and frozen berries?" I paused, keys in hand. "Sorry, no can do." She blinked. "Seriously?" You wanted to handle things on your own. I'm just sticking to the plan. She stared at me for a second. I'm busy. So am I. You'll figure it out. She didn't argue, just gave me a small nod and backed off. But the disappointment was written all over her face. Not anger, more like the slow realization that independence wasn't just about freedom. It was about responsibility. And the small, constant load I'd quietly carried all those years was finally being placed fully on her shoulders. Friday night, she asked if I wanted to watch something together. I told her I had work to finish. She nodded, went to the living room, and put on some random show. I glanced over a few minutes later. She wasn't watching. She was scrolling through her phone, probably looking for something to distract her from the fact that the dynamic between us had completely changed. By Sunday, the exhaustion was obvious. She looked overwhelmed, behind on chores, irritated with herself, and too proud to ask for help. She didn't say it out loud, but it was written all over her. This isn't what she thought independence would feel like. It was Sunday night when everything came to a head. I came home from a quick gym session to find her sitting at the kitchen counter, a half-eaten bowl of cereal in front of her. No milk, just dry flakes with water. She didn't even look up when I walked in. I tossed my keys in the bowl by the door. Rough day. She didn't answer right away. Then, softly, I forgot to buy groceries. Again, I opened the fridge, nearly empty. The only thing in there was some wilted spinach and a bottle of hot sauce. I closed it without saying a word. She looked up at me, eyes tired. Is this how I'm supposed to live? I leaned against the wall and said, not harshly, just matter of fact, no. This is how you said you wanted to live. She didn't argue, just sat there, letting the weight of that sentence sink in. A week later, I overheard her on the phone with her mom. I don't know how to do laundry with this machine, she said. The knobs don't make sense. I thought I pressed start, but nothing's happening. Her mom apparently laughed and said something I couldn't hear, but when the call ended, she tossed her phone onto the couch and sat there like the air had been knocked out of her. Over the next few days, she tried a different tactic. She started acting a little warmer, more talkative, complimented me when I made my own meals or got back from errands. I knew what was happening. She wasn't ready to admit she wanted help again, so she was easing into it sideways. Then, she started talking to mutual friends. I got a text from a buddy asking, "Hey, are you two okay? She said you've been really cold lately." I sent him a screenshot of our original conversation, the one where she asked for space and independence. No commentary, just facts. Still, more friends started reaching out. "She seems upset," one said. "Did something happen?" "She's just getting what she asked for," I replied. Eventually, she confronted me. "I feel like you're being passive-aggressive," she said. "Like you're punishing me for saying I needed space." I shook my head. "I'm not punishing you. I'm just respecting your request. You said you wanted to be independent. I assumed that meant actually handling things, not just pretending to." She didn't know what to say to that. A week later, she admitted it. "I didn't think you'd actually stop helping." "That's the thing about wanting independence," I told her. "Sometimes people finally listen." After that, we both knew it was over. She didn't ask me to stay, and I didn't offer. I moved out a few days later. It was quiet, no big fight. Just boxes, short conversations, and awkward goodbyes. She stood at the door as I loaded the last of my stuff, like she wanted to say something, but couldn't find the words. 2 months went by. Then one afternoon, I saw her at the DMV. She looked overwhelmed, standing in front of the self-service kiosk, license form in one hand, ID in the other. She turned around, recognized me instantly. There was a brief second where I thought she'd wave, but she didn't. I walked past her, not out of spite, just closure. Some people don't want space. They want control, or reassurance, or validation. But when they finally get true distance, they realize how much effort it takes to stand on your own. And sometimes, they learn it too late.